Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Bring your outdoor dreams to life at Loretto Nursery and Landscaping. This one-stop shop can help you get your project done from start to finish. Go see for yourself. They have a wide variety of plants, from tropicals to ferns and trees, plus hanging baskets. What they have to offer goes beyond what looks good. They also supply concrete, mulch, compost, and drainage culverts. Don't forget about their on-lot buildings and chicken coops. You think that's all? You can also stop by to fill up your propane tank. Loretto Nursery and Landscaping has you covered. Stop by 409 South Military Street.
Nobody makes hauling more affordable than C&D Hauling. Serving southern Middle Tennessee and northern Alabama, they supply premium materials like asphalt, sand, gravel, and much more for whoever needs it, like contractors, builders, or homeowners. Call today for a free quote.
If you're looking for a company that can do it all when it comes to building, look no further than Tennessee Properties. From new home builds to remodels and commercial projects, our contractors work hard to give your space a new life from planning to finishing touches. Whether it's new interiors or dirt work, they see your big picture without forgetting the small details. In the market for a new home, they partnered with Freeman Development to bring new homes to the Oak Hill subdivision of Lawrenceburg. That's Tennessee Properties, licensed and insured. Call today or visit Tennessee.com.
Here at Fields & Brown Barbershop, legacy means a lot. We're trying to fill big shoes left by my two uncles and my grandfather, where every haircut came with conversation and every customer left a little taller than when they walked in. The barbershop is about pride. It's about knowing your barber knows your name and your story. Come see us at Fields & Brown Barbershop, where tradition never goes out of style. 3 generations, 1 legacy, your barbershop.
Going the distance for local sports. This is X Sports Today.
There it is.
Hey, we're here.
Yeah, no Hayden today, so I have to do all of this. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. But here we are today, guys. It's Thursday here on X Sports Today. AJ Good, Taylor Plott, and let me scoot in a little bit more.
There we go. That looks better.
Michael Marks, guys, it's our football preview show for college football. Week 1 of the college football season coming up. Actually starting tonight. We previewed those games yesterday, but like we said, a couple of good ones to look forward to tonight, and should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, a bunch of good games. We're getting some ranked matchups. Boise State going in there to face South Florida. But even some of the smaller games, like I read a story from Ryan McGee from ESPN this morning about East Carolina and NC State.
I've been telling you.
Those two teams hate each other. And just reading the stories about it, I think that's going to be a great one to watch tonight. And then some other little ones like Central Arkansas and Missouri. Missouri's going to be trying out new quarterbacks. Right. Duke. Their $4 million quarterback. We'll see how that opens up. And then UT Martin heading out to Oklahoma State to see if Mike Gundy can get it turned around for 2025.
Yeah. So it should be a good one. And then Friday we got a couple really good ones. Also, don't sleep on Nebraska and Cincinnati.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
Both of those teams a lot improved. Scott Satterfield's coaching for his job pretty much, and Matt, second year under Matt Rule. That means something good's about to happen for this bunch. So there's a lot going on in that game tonight. And don't sleep on Wyoming at Akron.
I don't know about that.
That's for Taylor.
Cowboys.
Taylor actually wanted us to get the show on earlier so he can make his way out to the rubber.
It's a long drive, boys.
A long drive. Missouri, the only SEC team I see in action tonight. And I don't see any other than Auburn.
Yep.
It's the only SEC teams in action. Of course, Michigan State on Friday's got to play a directional Michigan on Friday or Thursday. I hate that the Duke's Mayo Classic is, it's not that SEC. ACC, you do get App State and Charlotte, so you got somewhat of a local rivalry. Not a big one there, but you get somewhat of a local rivalry there on Friday. But guys, Saturday, let's get into the two games I know you guys are going to be watching closely before we get to the national part of it. Right off the get-go, Syracuse at Tennessee there in Atlanta, 11 a.m. local time. That's a big one there, Mike, for the Vols.
Yeah, starting 2025, you always want to start 1-0, and you get a pretty good opponent in Syracuse. I mean, a 10-win team last year. Fran Brown, one of my favorite coaches in the nation. I like those guys that get really personal with it. Like Brent Key at Georgia Tech's another one that I really like. But I feel pretty confident going into this one from a Tennessee fan's perspective. Syracuse was not very good stopping the run last year, and that's kind of what Tennessee builds their offense on. So I think this is going to be more, and I've said this last night, I think this is going to be a situation where Tennessee's going to have to lose the game more so than Syracuse goes in and wins it.
Okay.
And I agree with that. I think that, this should be a Tennessee win. I feel like I'm not saying it's a given, but you just you expect them to be able to get it done. And I agree with what you said at the end there. I feel like if for some reason something happens, it's Tennessee shooting themselves in the own foot.
Right. Which can very well happen. We know Joey Aguilar likes to take some shots that may or may not be dangerous. So we'll see if maybe having some better talent around him can help that. But we'll have to wait till 11 a.m. on Saturday morning to see.
And you also got to remember Syracuse. That was a 10-win team.
But they lost.
They kicked Miami out of the playoffs last year. But you're right.
No Kyle McCord. They lost a 1,000-yard rusher, 2,000-yard receivers, a bunch of their defense.
The leading passer last year.
Yep.
And they're having to go on the road. Syracuse doesn't necessarily travel well.
Yep.
They never did when they were in the Big East, from my personal experience. But they sucked when I was covering West Virginia. That was a long story. But, this is not the most – this really, it's more of an ideal situation for Tennessee than what it is Syracuse.
But I do think it gives Syracuse a big opportunity to come in and beat an SEC team, get a ranked win early in the season, and set them up great for an ACC schedule.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Well, let's look at some of the I'm losing track. Lots going on in my brain right now. You do not want to live in it. For you, Bama at Florida State. There's some injury stuff going on. There's some off the field stuff going on.
Yeah.
You got this Florida State team that no one knows is what you're walking into. Tallahassee's never an easy place to play, especially in week one. But that's where Bama's going to be on Saturday.
So, I think I've said this before. We have a family chat of ours, like my brothers and cousins, and the vibe in there is we should be fine.
Right.
And I'm sitting back here, I'm thinking, I'm kind of with you where it's like, I don't know what this Florida State team is going to be like. You never know what you're going to have when you go down to Tallahassee and play in that stadium. I'm honestly somewhat concerned on how this game could go because you've got now a big key injury. I believe it was on defense and tightrope surgery going on. And so that's going to be
a couple of weeks.
For weeks. Got some other injuries. I don't know, and I'm definitely one of those. I'm one of those Bama fans that I try to have kind of somewhat of a reality check and not be like, oh, well, we're going to go in and just dominate every single team that we're playing, blah blah blah. This one's got me a little concerned because I feel like we're going to be the better team and we should go in there and win and probably win pretty handedly. You don't know what you're going to get with Florida State, especially with this being the first game. They're going to give you everything that they've got right off the bat. Yep. And I will say I feel like Alabama's going to come out with a win. I feel like it's going to be probably a 10 to 14 point win. I think the spread's kind of where it needs to be right now. But honestly, I would not be shocked at all if we get into that fourth quarter and you're either looking at a tight ball game or it's tied, or I wouldn't be shocked if Florida State's up by like 3 or something.
Well, I was just about to say that I almost look at this kind of like the Georgia Tech and Florida State opener last year in Ireland, because Florida State came in high expectations, and nobody knew what to expect out of Georgia Tech, and they slowed the game down, and they kept the ball in their control. And I feel like Florida State with Castellanos at quarterback, he's one of those kind of a Haynes King type that can run the ball. And if Florida State can control the clock with it being at Florida State, it could be a little dangerous. But like you said, this should be a comfortable win for Alabama.
Yeah,
it should be. But you're breaking in a new quarterback. You got both teams. You got both coaches with a lot to prove. Mike Norvell's got to prove he wasn't just a one-hit wonder. Kalen DeBoer's got to prove that he's worthy to be at Alabama. Florida State, we've learned that if they stack up with the right amount of talent, this could be a dangerous game. I mean, that's the thing about the new days with the transfer portal and NIL. I mean, it's like we said last night, Michael. We're not really going to know what these teams are until about week 5.
Yes.
So this could be a really dangerous game for the Tigers.
It could be very dangerous, but the aspect that I go off of where I feel comfortable that, or at least somewhat comfortable that Alabama should go in there and at least handle business to an extent. Yeah, it could be a close game or whatnot, but I feel like they'll come away with a W. I feel like Ty Simpson at quarterback is what DeBoer needs for his system. And there are a lot of rumors and reports. I even had some people who know stuff about the locker room down there a lot better than some of the reports will get out. And there was a lot of concern that DeBoer was going to bench Milroe, and if he did that, he would lose the locker room, and it would just destroy that season altogether. And that has a lot of merit with stuff that I've heard too. So you go back to last year and see what happened. Yes, 9 wins, first less than 10-win season in a long time, but you're moving forward into someone who I feel like he needed at quarterback that he wasn't able to really have last year. I feel like Simpson is a field general. He's got some good wheels on him that he can maneuver and stuff like that. But not only that, but you're bringing Ryan Grubb back in as your OC, who they had a great thing going at Washington. And that's who you anticipated coming with them. And he was at first until he ended up taking that Seattle job. But just looking from the offense perspective, I feel like this is the offensive scheme and the players that he wanted and needed to move that stuff that he had from Washington, show that it works here. And you look at some of the games they had last year, especially Georgia, it worked. You got up 28-0 against Georgia in the first half. That offensive style works in the SEC. And you just didn't have a consistent quarterback. And I feel like he's got that now, and I feel like that's going to show. And this is where I say I do expect it to at least be a close game. But the flip side of it, I wouldn't be shocked if you go into halftime and Bama's up by like 20.
Yeah, and very well because, the thing I like about Simpson and bringing Ryan Grubb in is I feel like it's going to get a lot more receivers involved. Because, we saw that Washington team. Michael Penix had Roma Dunze to throw to, Jalen McMillan, Jalen Polk. All 3 of those guys were outstanding receivers. I look at the box score from Tennessee and Alabama last year. Jalen Milroe threw the ball to Ryan Williams 21 times.
He was that. And everybody else was like single digits.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I don't think you're. there will probably be games where he gets 10, 12, 15 targets, but he's that good. But if there's a game where he's getting 20, 25 receptions and everybody else targets and everybody else is getting 3 or 4, that's kind of what caused some problems for Alabama last year, and I don't think we'll see that this year.
I agree.
So, sorry guys, I got a bit distracted. A lot going on around here, but kind of locally here for us. UNA on the road at Western Kentucky. Obviously, Western Kentucky got a win last week, and head coach Brent Dearman over for the Lions has said a lot. This is almost like a scrimmage game. They're not expected to win. This is a situation they don't want to get hurt. Obviously, Western Kentucky doesn't want to get hurt. They have big goals. However, you don't want to show up and lay an egg. And it's a tough game for Western Kentucky. They got a league win. Here comes this UNA team. Again, FCS is very transfer portal heavy. They got a lot of different guys. They got a transfer quarterback who got injured last year, lost his job, and now he's back. So this is a a precarious situation for both teams. But UNA certainly needs to have a good showing against a very good Western Kentucky team.
Well, I think their defensive backs and their secondary is going to get tested a lot.
Absolutely.
I mean, McIver, I think he threw almost 50, maybe almost close to 60 times last week against Sam Houston. So, I mean, I don't think UNA's front seven is going to be tested as much because we know Western Kentucky likes to throw the ball around. But I do think that could allow for this game to maybe stay close for a little longer than you would expect. A couple incompletions, you're third and long, and look at that, you're punting. Yeah. I mean, so it does open the door for UNA to keep it exciting. Bringing back a quarterback that you had to start the season last year, it is exciting. But if that doesn't work out, I mean, they brought Wade in from Colorado, and he was a big time recruit out of Spring Hill at Summit High School. So, I mean, I think the sky's the limit for this UNA team this year.
Yeah, I agree. I hadn't really paid that much attention to UNA, but knowing that it feels like I wouldn't be shocked if they end up. I'm not saying they're going to go in there and get the win.
I think they could look very competitive.
I think they look very competitive. I do, and I feel like UNA could be one of those FCS teams that don't overlook them, because if you do, you think you're going to go in there and have a cakewalk and kind of go about it nonchalantly. Next thing you know, it's a close ball game, tie ball game, or who knows, UNA's up.
Right. So, again, remember Florida State. UNA goes in there, it's 14-0 before you know it. They broke your quarterback's leg.
Yep, exactly. You
Not
never
on
know.
Purpose. They didn't do it on purpose. But some of the other games, before we get to the big ones, obviously, some of the other games I'm looking at, Northwestern at Tulane. Tulane, if they want to make that push for the group of 5 spot, again, Northwestern isn't exactly that team that's going to pop.
Yeah.
But that is a Power 4 team, and it's in your building, and I think you can get a chance to at least have a somewhat of a resume building win.
Yeah, and Tulane's actually the favorite there. The spread's favoring them -4.5, and New Orleans is not an easy place to play. And Northwestern's just kind of in a weird spot. Obviously, we've seen all this stuff with Pat Fitzgerald coming out that kind of puts a bit of a damper look on the team going into the season. They don't really have a home stadium. They're playing their games at their lacrosse stadium and then some games at Wrigley Field. So it's just a strange look for Northwestern. Now, their new stadium next year when it opens up will be beautiful. But for right now, I think that their team's probably in the same side of their stadium is, and they're just trying to build up.
Now, Tulane, I don't know how many people they have coming back or whatnot, but last year
they're always tough.
They're always tough. They're always tough, and I would expect them to be the same, if not better, this year. And you saw what they did hosting Ole Miss last year. They gave Ole Miss a run for their money.
Right.
And I don't remember exactly what the final score was. I'm pretty sure Ole Miss
It might have been 10. It was a one-possession game to, I think, the very
end. I think Ole Miss won by like 7 or 10 or something like that. But don't overlook Tulane. They've got a tough team year in and year out now. They've got some good stuff going for them. That's another one that just for the longest time you kind of overlooked them.
Right.
Now Tulane's kind of back to what they used to be a long time ago. So don't overlook them.
Another one at 11 a.m. Mississippi State at Southern Miss. Obviously an in-state rivalry there. And Southern Miss new coach basically brought his Sun Belt champion roster from Marshall over to Southern Miss. Mississippi State had a rough year. Jeff Lebby did not have it easy, so that could be a sneaky one. Another sneaky one, the SEC, Toledo at Kentucky, the MAC favorite. Going to a Kentucky team and Mark Stoops, who's fighting for his job right now.
Yeah, Toledo is 11.5-point underdogs, but I'd take them outright. I really do think they have a very talented team. That's the MAC champs coming in to face Kentucky. And listen, Toledo went on the road last year and won at Mississippi State very convincingly, too. I think it was like a 17-point game. So it wouldn't surprise me if they went into Kentucky and did the same thing. It's an 11:45 kickoff. Guys might be a little kind of daydreaming through the game, and if you make a couple mistakes, watch out.
I'm not sure what to think about this Kentucky team, because if I remember correctly, the years that people think, okay, well, Kentucky's really not going to be good, they end up being pretty good, if I remember right. But at least over the past handful of years, when people expect Kentucky to be good, they usually have been pretty fair.
Well, last year was a rough year, but before that, they had been a pretty decent team.
Yeah, they've been a pretty decent team. I don't know what to think about this one. I mean, I think the spread's too much. I would take Toledo to at least cover that, but I feel like going back to the kind of the Florida State stuff. Kentucky's almost, you don't really know what you're going to get until you really start to see what they can do. But I wouldn't be shocked if Toledo, at least, I expect them to cover, but I wouldn't be shocked if they got in there and got the win.
But they got Zach Calzada at quarterback. You lose your number one receiver, Barryon Brown, to the portal. He goes to LSU. You bring in Kendrick Law, but really, other than that, it just feels like they don't have enough weapons on offense to be able to keep up with some of these teams.
Obviously, the upset special, Marshall at Georgia. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Hey, it's only 38.5.
I don't want the hurt. They won't even let you pick Marshall.
No, they won't let you pick the money line.
They won't let you do it. I just don't want my herd to go down there with a brand new head coach and basically a whole new roster and not get crushed. But Georgia does have a history of not crushing those opponents, but who knows? Hey, last time Marshall was there, only lost 13-3 to David Pollock and company. I remember watching that game. I mean, Marshall, I think, had 4 turnovers, and 2 of those were in Georgia territory.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
that was 04.
04.
I think that Georgia team was second in the East that year, and they were very highly ranked early in the season. So
Yeah, that was a good Mark Richt team back then.
That's when Marshall actually cared about defense, too. But that's another rant for another time. We got some tricky FCS against FBS games. South Dakota, I know Iowa State just came off a win, but South Dakota made the playoffs a year ago. Montana State at Oregon. Remember, Idaho went into Oregon a year ago, gave them all they could. Montana State was in the championship game a year ago. That's a pretty tricky one. I would say Chattanooga and Memphis. Chattanooga is just one of those programs. Every other year they're going to be great, but Memphis has a history of facing FCS programs and just stomping them in the dirt early part of the year. North Dakota at Kansas State. North Dakota made the playoffs a year ago. Austin P at Middle Tennessee MTSU. Austin P is expected to compete for the UAC there. Then to some other games. Coastal Carolina at Virginia. Virginia's got a coach fighting for his life. Coastal Carolina is not an easy out. That is going to be tough. I just missed it. I
really think the South Dakota and Iowa State and then North Dakota and Kansas State games are really interesting because you got to realize these teams just played a game in Ireland a week ago, and now they're having to come home. One team's got high hopes now. One team's a little down and out.
And they're playing teams from the SEC or the FCS.
Yes. And I would say South Dakota and North Dakota are no slouches. I'm not saying that either of those will be upsets, but those are ones that a mistake or two from Iowa State or Kansas State could cost them the game.
And, and same with Montana State's not going to be an easy out. I mean, these teams are pretty good. UTSA, Texas A&M, that could be a sleeper one right there. I wouldn't be surprised if they go in there and win. Hang on, it's my wife calling. Hey, honey, you're live.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on air. You're live. What's up?
I don't think this is an on-air appropriate.
Oh boy.
Okay, give a
doctor appointment.
Okay, give us your Tennessee Syracuse thoughts for Saturday.
Tennessee's going to destroy them.
I like that. That's a good pick.
Okay, why do you think they're going to destroy them?
Because I'm a Vol for life.
Good answer.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Anyone but the Vols.
That's right. Where did you graduate from?
Carson Newman.
That's right up there with them.
It's all right. Mike's a VFL. He says it's allowed.
I mean, duh.
All right. I'll call you back here. We're about to go to break, okay?
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, gotta love it. I mean, we were on a roll there, too.
Go Vols.
We'll discuss the big games when we oh, I had it. What happened here? I must have clicked out of it. All right, we'll return here on Exports Today.
Hi, I'm Jeff Overton, pastor of Mars Hill Baptist Church. It's that time of year again where the hallways of the schools come alive with life. We love hearing the children go back, their laughter, their squeals, the excitement. And we want you to know at Mars Hill Baptist Church, we're praying for you as you start back to school. Whether you're in the kindergarten and starting your very first day, or whether this is your senior year, it's the last time you're going to walk the halls of that high school. We want you to know we're praying for you and we're supporting you. We're praying you have a great, productive year, a safe year, and when you come to the end of this school year, you look back and say, what a great year it's been. I also like to encourage you. We have a great children and student ministries at Mars Hill Baptist Church, and we'd love to come alongside you and help you grow in that area of your life as well. So as you begin this school year, begin knowing we're behind you, we support you, and we love you. God bless you. Have a great school year.
Got a dent, a ding, a scratch, or a bent fender? Major or minor, Car Country Collision Center in Leoma can fix you up. Car Country works with all insurance carriers, gives free estimates, can work on foreign and domestic vehicles, and has experience you can trust. They've been in business since 1990. Unfortunately, accidents happen, but you can get your car back on the road with as little hassle as possible with the help of Car Country. Call 931-852-4708 or stop by at 2567 Highway 43 South in Leoma.
A&M Medical is Lawrence County's newest medical clinic, specializing in urgent and primary care. Practitioners Andrea Bain and Meredith Hutton bring years of experience and compassion to keep you and your family healthy. A&M Medical features a separate well waiting room to meet your needs. Visit today and ask about A&M's weight loss program and telemedicine services. That's A&M Medical, located at 2367 Highway 43 South in Leoma, Tennessee.
The Raptor Series from Hustler Turf. A premium line of residential mowers designed with a wide stance for operator comfort, a one-piece 11-gauge steel frame and welded steel deck for added durability, finished off with premium Kawasaki V-twin power. We are Hustler Turf, and this is Hustler Country.
Since 1955, Evers Construction has been the company folks have trusted for residential and commercial construction projects. Today, Evers is still the leader in building and is just as committed to maintaining. From residential to commercial and industrial, Evers' team of experts stands ready to install, service, and repair all your HVAC and plumbing needs. Specializing in leak repair, maintenance, air duct cleaning and repair, air handler service, drain cleaning, gas line work, emergency unit repair, inspections, and more. Evers Construction offers a preventative maintenance package to keep your home or business cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Trained, trusted, reliable. For more information or to schedule an appointment with the pros who know, phone 931-762-3593 or visit eversconstructionco.com. Evers Construction Company in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
Since opening our doors in 1904, Builtwell Bank has existed to be the local economic engine for the communities we serve. No matter if you're buying a car, saving for retirement, or finally buying that forever home, Builtwell Bank is here to help. From personal checking and savings accounts to a full suite of business and commercial banking with treasury management services, we'll make sure you'll have a dedicated Builtwell banker that understands your unique needs and stands by you every step of the way. No matter where you are in Tennessee or Northwest Georgia, there's likely a Builtwell Bank location nearby. Come see us and let our dedicated financial team help you with all of your banking needs. Member FDIC.
Going the distance for local sports. This is X Sports Today.
Welcome back to X Sports Today. Working this confusing thing, but we're here. AJ Good, Taylor Plott, Michael Marks. Guys, taking a look once again here. We're going to go to the big games on Saturday, starting with the first right off the get-go, Texas and Ohio State. Before we actually get into the game and everything, are you guys like me? I'm like, why is this at noon? Why isn't this a night game? Why isn't this at 3:30? Why are we playing this?
Is it the Fox big noon game?
Yeah, thank you, Fox, and your big noon kickoff for making every game at the crack of dawn, pretty much.
Yeah, or let's see, it's 9 a.m. for the West Coasters.
Yeah.
It's 11 a.m. for us.
Yeah,
not a lot of fun.
Quick rant, because I know
go as long as you want.
Because I know we're kind of all in the same boat here with this. Yeah. Why? All right, I understand that Fox wants to have a big game. I get that. You got your big noon kickoff. Yeah. You got your pregame that is apparently the rival to game day, but it's not a rival to game day because nobody watches it.
Well, if you have Dave Portnoy on your show is not important.
Yeah.
Period.
So why are we putting these great matchups that early? That should be a prime time. Honestly, Texas, I get Fox gets to be able to have like a Big Ten game and everything, but this is where ESPN, if they had the option, be like, This is Texas. We're taking this one. This is the SEC nighttime primetime matchup. Yeah. This is what we're doing.
And see, the problem with that is Fox gets first pick for whatever Big Ten game they want.
Yeah.
And I think they do some Big 12 as well.
Yeah.
But their big thing is their big noon kickoff, and it's ruined so many great college football games over the years.
Yep.
I mean, why is a Penn State wideout happening at noon?
Yeah.
Because now this year, luckily, they're getting a night game for their wideout. I guess that game will be on NBC, but NBC gets second choice.
Yeah.
So, that game would not be the second choice for anybody. Yeah. But, and there were talks over the summer of moving it tonight, but Texas didn't want to or something like that. So it's just really weird.
If you don't have it, if you don't put it at the noon, and if Texas for some reason just didn't want it prime time, 2:30, 3:30 slot. Right. There you go.
Right, because they've got this game, and then right after that is the Iowa State we were talking about game. Then there's a big gap because they're doing the 10 o'clock our time, so it's 11 o'clock Eastern, Utah at UCLA.
Yeah.
Yep.
And part of me is like, yeah, all right, baby, Pac-12 after dark is back.
Yep.
We're back. Or as we used to joke.
Oh, the fact that's Big 10 versus Big 12 now is going to mess me
Cal
up.
at Oregon State. I mean, look at I'm so excited because we used to call this when I worked in TV news. I know this probably isn't appropriate, but we used to call it porn for sports reporters.
Oh, yeah.
Because you would have like that noon game, that 3:30 game by the time you drove. For me, if driving to Morgantown or Huntington, that's at least an hour, 2.5, 3 hours, especially from WVU. You get back, put everything together. By the time you get home, I mean, you're in the second half of the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock game, and then it's like, a whole slate of games starting right at 10 o'clock Eastern or 11 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm up to 2 a.m. Like, I actually get to watch a game without a camera, having to worry about deadline. This is awesome.
And see, my rant last night was going to be about another game time slot from last week. Yeah. Hawaii playing while the sun was still up didn't feel right. I like watching Hawaii when it's like 2 in the morning.
Still up for them.
Yeah, for them.
Well, it was up here for most of that game. I think it kicked off at like 6:30. Yeah. It didn't feel right watching a Hawaii game before midnight. I just put it that way.
So the Stanford people could go to bed at a decent time.
Yeah.
But anyways,
they got to test the next
because they have tests and classes they need to go to.
But let's get into the game. Obviously, top 5, 1 versus 3. There's a lot riding on this. It can be in a way. You certainly. You can't lose a playoff spot in this. You can certainly help it if you win it. You won't lose it, but it certainly puts you in a worse spot if you lose it because now you've got 11 more games to prove that you belong in that top 12. So this, it's a big game right off the get-go.
Yeah, and I think that this is set up much better for Ohio State. If this game was at Texas, I would have no problem picking Texas. I think they're a better overall team, top to bottom, than Ohio State. But it being at Ohio State, it being that big of a game, starting up the season, the fans up there are going to be, that's going to be a crazy atmosphere. But this is really Arch Manning's first true start. I mean, he had some starts last year for Texas, but those were games against like UTEP and Mississippi State. Not anything to worry about. It's a big game. And obviously we know how much Ohio State lost last year, but that's still a really good team. And they still have a really good coaching staff. And they're still going to be a team that's hard to beat. Yeah.
Y'all guys watch Matt Mitchell at all? He's the one who does the SEC roll calls and everything.
He's so funny.
Did you see the one that was the week 0 going into this weekend? The Texas guy that he did.
Yeah.
And the only thing that he said was, "We have a Manning." that was his answer. Yeah. I kid you not. I have 2 friends of mine that both are out of town. One is in Dallas. The other one is in Atlanta right now working. And they're both huge Texas fans, biggest Texas fans that I know. And I kid you not, their reaction was the same.
Yeah. We have ours.
Yes, I'm not kidding. I asked them, "How do you think the game's going to go?" And their response was, "Well, we have Arch Manning." I'm like, that's not an answer.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm thinking, do they really have that mindset where it's like, we have a Manning, therefore we are going to be fantastic?
Well, yesterday I heard a quote from Jordan Rogers from the SEC Network, and usually I take everything he says with a grain of salt. But he said...
He is a Rogers.
Yeah. And he decided to play college football at Vanderbilt. It made them really good when they were there. Yep. But he said, that it was Arch really hasn't put anything on tape that makes you think that this is the best quarterback in the nation and a solidified number 1 pick. And I was like, that's crazy. I went back and looked at his stats, and I'm like, he really
got a
did.
point.
He's got. That's kind of how I've thought this whole time. I'm like, okay, you guys are hyping him up as you should. He's a good.
Yeah.
We know what he can do. We've seen glimpses, but we haven't seen it for full 4 quarters.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it against this. Well, the little bit we saw him against Georgia wasn't great.
No.
So this is
the thing.
This is a lot.
I could put him in the same boat. You go back and remember how people were hyped up on Quinn Ewers.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Feeling like he was going to be a number 1 overall pick, everything. And I'm not saying he was a bad quarterback at all. He was a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
But you started seeing a lot more of these games. You started to realize there's really nothing special there with him. I'm not. Yeah, he's a good quarterback. He everything about that, but you didn't have that special.
He didn't have an it factor.
He didn't have the it factor. Right. And I feel like, yes, he's a Manning, so that name's going to carry weight with it whatsoever. Yeah. I feel like he is a good quarterback. That's been proven through some of the game film and some of the practice stuff. He is a good quarterback. But I'm wanting to almost push him into that Quinn Ewers category pretty quickly. Yeah. Because it almost feels like that it has that same vibe.
Because he has as much experience as a guy like Marcel Reed right now that nobody's talking. I mean, now obviously that's 2 completely different players, but one of them's getting a lot of love and one of them is not being talked about at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but we also have 8-9 games of film on Marcel Reed to kind of figure out what.
But somebody that didn't play a full season,
right,
but is getting a lot of love.
Yeah.
But we also have a lot of questions at Ohio State. Yeah, you got one of the best actually probably the best receiver in the country. You lost a lot on defense. You've lost your entire backfield. And you got a freshman at quarterback. There's a lot of questions over there. I mean, a lot of guys got drafted from that national championship team. Yeah, you might have the best receiver in the country, but if your quarterback can't get the ball to him or he's not giving it to him the right way, this could be a lot of issues.
I would have agreed with you if I didn't watch the Tennessee-Ohio State game. It seemed like anytime you threw the ball within 1.5 yards, 2 yards of Jeremiah Smith, he was catching the ball.
Yes.
I mean, that dude is
right.
I firmly believe that Ohio State has the best offensive player in the country and the best defensive player in the country with Caleb Downs. Yeah. But like you said, what else?
Yeah,
and that's what we're going to have to find out.
The defensive line, you saw it against Tennessee, and they really came alive in the playoff. They were eating that entire playoff.
But they lost 3 of those guys.
And 3 of those guys are now suiting up for somebody on Sundays now. And that's how good that – and a couple of really good line – I mean, this –
Yeah.
I mean,
they were
feel
good
like
at all 3
Texas
levels.
is coming in with the more experienced, the more proven team. It just happens to be in Columbus.
Yeah.
I wish we had more. I wish we had more 1 versus 3. I like more 1 versus 3. I like more 1 versus 3, Siri.
Tired, need more caffeine brain.
Yeah.
Ryan Day. Ryan. For some reason, I could see his face. Like, what is his name? Ryan Day. He saved his job, in my opinion, last year. Yeah. He needed to do what he did. Yeah, you lost to Michigan. That whatever.
Don't say that in Columbus.
I know. Don't say that in Columbus. But he made it to the playoffs, and he saved his job.
Right.
Here's where I'm going with this. I think this is going to be a pretty big down year for Ohio State. I've been kind of going.
I kind of feel the same way as you did.
I've been kind of going around in my mind. I do fully believe that Ryan Day is a good coach, and he can turn if this team ends up kind of being iffy. I feel like he's a good enough coach that he could probably push some buttons and make them a little bit better. But I've been going back and forth in my mind on what I really feel about this Ohio State team. And I really think that they're going to have a pretty down year. Yeah. I don't think they make the playoffs.
Ooh.
I'm going to go ahead and I would almost say that I would lean towards 3 losses with them.
Okay. And
it's feasible.
I was about to bounce off that. If they have 3, if they go 9-3 in the regular season and lose to Michigan, Ryan Day's seat is going to be really, really hot.
And that's where I'm going to come back around to that, where he saved his job going into this year. I think there's a good chance to go 9-3 and they could lose to Michigan again. Yeah. If he didn't do what he did last year, this season he's gone.
Yep. Right.
Because you felt like you already knew this was probably going to be somewhat of a down year with all the people that were going to leave. And I feel like he actually put himself into the best position possible for that to happen and him actually be able to live through it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, guys, we'll certainly see coming up here. It's going to be very interesting. But then the nightcap, well, not the nightcap, but the big game at night. LSU at Clemson. Both of these teams are bringing back a ton of experience. Both of these teams, in a way, unproven. Both of these teams with NFL potential first-round draft pick quarterbacks. These are two teams that, everyone's saying this is going to be the best team in the ACC. With Clemson, a lot of people were picking them to get to the Final Four, maybe the national championship team with 16, 17 stars returning. LSU's bringing a lot of that back, but they also spent a ton of money in NIL and the transfer portal, got Nussmeier back. But I think LSU is the team with the most pressure on them in this situation, especially because going to Clemson, they're pretty confident. You haven't won in week one, no matter who your opponent is. You could probably, UNA could probably go down there and maybe have a chance to beat them the way that they are. That's no disrespect to UNA. It's just that mental wall that LSU has right now. And this is a big game for them because, Brian Kelly you could say he's on the hot seat, but if you get a win against Clemson, that's going to cool that seat. That's going to put some ice on that seat for the time being. But if you go down there and lose a game late, or you just get flat out blown out, it's not looking good for you.
It's not looking good. And going back to that Ryan Day thing, I feel like Brian Kelly's in the Ryan Day position he was last year, where you feel like you need to prove that you can make the playoff, you can win these games, you could maybe make it to an SEC championship. And I feel like Brian Kelly has a team that he's carried over a lot from last year. And I feel like if there's a team that can make it to that point and actually he can save his job or at least get off the hot seat to an extent, this is the team to do it. Now, on the flip side, you go over to Clemson. And what has Dabo Swinney not wanted to do until of recent?
Transfer portal.
Delve into the transfer portal, deal with the NIL and everything.
He got him some goodies out there.
He got him some goodies, and that's my whole thing, that if I was in front of him and he was asking me, what do I need to do to actually do my job again, I'm like, you need to freaking get into the transfer portal and catch up with the times. You might not want to do it, but you need to do it.
He didn't go crazy.
He didn't go crazy.
He were really, I think he was really selective, which is the way I would want to do it, or I would want
you can't build your whole team out of the transfer portal. But hey, if we need another linebacker, I'll find a guy that fits my system.
We need some wideouts for our future NFL quarterback. Well, let's go get the best guys we can get, and they did.
And that's what he needed to do. That was what up until this point, he was all the old school head coach mentality, which is fine. I get that you want to do that, but you see how the times have changed.
You got to adapt.
And he did. We'll have to see. I feel like he did, but he finally delved into the transfer portal. He didn't go off, but I feel like he did what he needed to do, which was get some of these key positions. And he's still a good coach that he can make a really good team and coach them. And that's why I do think I agree with them thinking that they could make it to like the Final Four or the championship. But I would think that LSU and Brian Kelly have a lot to prove going into this, because you're right, AJ, they have not won a week one game since Brian Kelly has been there, maybe?
Yeah, it was the 2019
State choke job.
Yep.
And then
they lost
USC.
USC.
And USC was not real good a year.
Well, people forget 2021 they lost to UCLA. I mean, their last week one win was against Georgia Southern, and that was when you had Joe Burrow and the entire NFL on your team.
And that was Ed Orgeron.
Yes. But listen, I think this matchup, while Texas and Ohio State is the highest ranked matchup, I think this is the best matchup of teams. We know what they're going to have.
Yeah.
I saw something that 35 NFL scouts will be there, along with 5 NFL GMs. So
I think it's the most important game.
Yes,
that
I would
we have
agree.
On Saturday, because you look at it from Clemson's aspect. You get 2 SEC teams this year. Both of them are ranked in the top 25. For the most part, the ACC on down the line, I know they got SMU, and there's I think Georgia Tech and maybe one other challenge, because North Carolina's on their schedule, and we don't know what UNC is going to be.
Yeah.
Okay, of the 9 league games you're going to play, you might get challenged 3 times. And then you got 2 SEC teams.
Yeah.
Let's say realistically, you go 4-1 in those games and then beat up everybody else. You're sitting there at 11-1 playing for the ACC championship game. You're in.
Yeah.
With the team that you have, you're in. But you can't do what they did a year ago. You can't lose both of those SEC games.
Yep.
And because it was Georgia last year, if I remember right.
Yep.
You can't lose both of those SEC games, trip up a little bit in the conference, and next thing you know, you've got 3 losses, and you have to win, pull off an upset just to get in, and then you're going on the road again. They can't do that this year. So I would want to nickname it the Pressure Bowl, because both of these teams are under an immense amount of pressure from fan bases, from probably the CFP committee to, hey, you got to prove something to us this year.
Well, the committee came in this year and said that they're going to value, I think it was the strength of record, not strength of schedule this year.
Yep.
And you look at Clemson's schedule, and as of now, they have 3 ranked matchups. 2 of them are against SEC teams, and the other one is against SMU in the middle of the year. And maybe Louisville in the end of the year could be, closer to the end of the year could be ranked, maybe Florida State. But as of right now, Clemson does not have a tough schedule at all other than those 3 games. And like you said, I think they need to go 2-1 in those 3 ranked games to feel comfortable, because then that gives them maybe room to drop another one. But if Dabo wants Clemson to get back where he thinks they are, they have to win this game. But for Brian Kelly's sake, if he wants to keep his job at LSU for too much longer, he has to win this game.
He has to win that game too. The thing that intrigues me about, because you make a good point where the committee's going to look a lot more on the strength of record and still strength of schedule, but weight it a little bit differently because they're trying to make up for stuff that they felt like they needed to do last year. But the thing that intrigues me with the Clemson aspect and their schedule is if you go back to even some of the best Dabo Swinney Clemson teams, how many games did they have against opponents where you felt like that they should probably easily win that in the ACC? Talking about like a Virginia Tech or one, they're all
they let them hang around.
And let them hang around.
They ended up winning, but it was far from it.
Yeah, the Clemson team that won the national championship over Alabama in 2016 lost a game in the middle of the season to Nathan Peterman and Pitt.
Yeah. So you always have those games that are just be very, very close. Where you might lose it, you might squeak out a win, but going off of how many ranked teams they have right now, if they lose one of those ranked teams, or maybe 2, let's say they lose 2 of them.
I think 2. That seat's bubbling.
That seat's bubbling because you can anticipate one of those matchups. It could be a North Carolina. Who knows? Where somehow, some way, they find themselves in a dogfight, and if they don't squeak out a win, you're out.
And then you look at the other conferences. What if we've got a top-heavy SEC? What if we have a top-heavy Big Ten? But what if the Big 12 has got 3 11-1 teams sitting right there, or you've got an 11-1 and 2 10-2, or maybe 3 10-2 teams sitting up there? It's like, and there's more team. They beat more teams with numbers beside their names than you did.
So and you could go back and say, all right, well, let's say that they do end up with just 2 losses this year. Let's say one of them is, let's say they lose to LSU. Let's say LSU goes in and actually gets it done, and then you fast forward to
Georgia Tech, Louisville,
Louisville, something like that, and somehow, some way, they end up losing to one of those teams. And then you make a good point where you go to the end of the season, now you've got a top-heavy SEC or a Big Ten or something to go on with the Big 12, and all of a sudden you look at Clemson's strength of record, and they're like 40th or something.
Or what if they lose to South Carolina again? And the last
game
data point you have is, their can't beat their rivals.
Yep, they could be one of those teams where your final rankings, they end up being like 14 or 15 or so, just right there on the edge of being able to get in, and they don't.
But I do think Clemson's going to win this. I mean, there's been all the talk about LSU can't win an opening game, but I think Clemson's just better top to bottom.
I agree, and plus they're playing in their stadium, so I feel like that's
called Death Valley.
Death Valley.
But these 2 teams are loaded.
Coming up next, guys, we'll take a look at the Sunday and Monday games when we return.
From our humble beginnings to today, Parks Lumber Company has continuously served Lawrence and surrounding counties for over a century. Although we started as a small lumber yard in 1896, we have grown to include everything you need to make your dream project come to life. No matter your building needs, our experienced staff will be with you every step of the way to ensure you receive the highest customer service and attention to detail you deserve. Visit us at 106 2nd Street or on Facebook. We guarantee you will see working with PLC is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
A local law firm respected throughout the state. Generations of clients have turned to Boston, Holt, and Durham since 1948. We assist individuals and businesses with their legal needs, including real estate, property closings, personal injury, employment discrimination, and family law. Our clients get the personal attention and convenience of a hometown law firm with the resources and ability to handle any case. Come see us at Boston, Holt, and Durham. Financial advisor Scott Beasley knows time spent with family is everything. As a founder of Beasley Wealth Management, His mission is to give clients the freedom to enjoy time with family without the burden of financial concerns. A local of Lawrenceburg, Scott deeply values building relationships with clients, ensuring they make informed decisions concerning asset management, tax planning, and retirement planning. Offering a free initial consultation, Beasley Wealth Management helps clients pursue their aspirations with confidence.
Arctic Air keeps your home or business comfortable. For more than 20 years, we provided outstanding residential and commercial services through southern Middle Tennessee. Whether you need assistance with your heat, air conditioning, preventive maintenance, or anything in between, trust our reliable team to get the job done. We'll take the time to figure out your specific needs and recommend what we believe is right and best for your situation.
We've been using Arctic Air for over 15 years now. Their service is great, they're here when we need them, and their prices are competitive. They take the worry out of the heat and air so I don't have to.
Arctic Air. When you need us, we'll be there.
Going the distance for local sports. This is X Sports Today.
Welcome everybody back here to X Sports Today. AJ Good with Taylor Plott, Michael Marks. I couldn't figure out what camera I was looking at. So guys, we're looking at the Sunday games coming up. We'll start off with the first one of the day, Virginia Tech and South Carolina from the Bins down in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think this could be a really interesting game because Virginia Tech, they were one of those teams that had some pesky games last year. I mean, obviously the loss to Vanderbilt was disappointing, but then like 2 or 3 weeks later, they go down to Miami and a screwy call away from winning that one. Yeah. I think you get home from church, you eat some lunch, take a quick nap, and then you got football to wake up to. I think it's gonna be a great game, and we're gonna get to see this South Carolina team and what they put on the field because obviously that team last year was incredibly talented, but they lost a lot. They had a lot of seniors. They lost a running back. They lost one of their defensive ends. But they just got a seventh-year transfer running back waiver cleared, so I think they're ready to, all gas, no brakes for South Carolina.
How Beamer ball is, all gas, no brakes.
Yeah.
I'm going to be interested to see what they're able to put onto the. I love Beamer ball too. I feel like this is going to be a year though where you're going to find out how good he can coach, and I feel like he can coach pretty good. Yeah, he had a lot of talent last year and lost a lot, so. Be interested to see what they put on the field, and that should be a pretty intriguing game. I guess
Sellers' sophomore year, does he have a slump? Do people kind of figure out what he's going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, you lost a lot off that defense. You lost your starting running back. A lot of question marks for the Gamecocks.
But I feel like it's going to be a close game.
Yeah.
I'm really confident in South Carolina. And like you said, we're trying to figure out if Shane Beamer's a good coach, and up to this point, he's done a really good job at South Carolina. I remember that first year, it wasn't as good. I think they went 6-7 or something like that year. But, man, ever since then, he has been a really good coach for them.
Yeah.
You think of from the guys from Blacksburg. Brent Pry, it's his third year. His rear end's getting a little hot down there in Blacksburg. They haven't had a lot of good seasons since he's been down there. They've got a lot to prove. You're facing the son of your legendary head coach who, when your job came up, wasn't exactly asking for it. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. And I know some of the reasons. He actually even said it on the SEC Netflix show, like people still look at him as Frank's son, and he's trying to prove that he's beyond Frank's son here.
Right.
And what a better way to do it than
to beat his dad's
your
old
alma mater.
Yeah.
There.
And I feel like that's going to be a lot more motivation for South Carolina coming into that game.
Yeah. So, and then the nightcap, guys, the big one there on Sunday, Notre Dame at Miami. I like Notre Dame in this. I think Miami's massively overrated. It is in Miami. You are breaking in new starting quarterbacks. Both of them do have a lot of experience, but you're breaking in new starting quarterbacks. When you lose the first overall pick of quarterback and you lose his top 6 receivers. And you lose everything else that Miami lost on a team that didn't even make the playoff. I don't know. I have no faith in Mario Cristobal that he can coach a game in a big game situation. And I love what Marcus Freeman is doing. I didn't originally like the Marcus Freeman hire, but he's won me over there at South Bend.
Yeah, and listen, I get this is a 2.5 point spread, but I think if everything falls together right, Notre Dame could win this game by 2 scores.
Right.
Easily. I mean, obviously bringing in C.J. Carr, he's a young guy, not much experience, but you look at everybody around him. He's got 2 of the best running backs in the country. Yeah. He's got a stout offensive lineman, a great defense with most of the guys coming back from last year. I think that last year was kind of the coming out party for Notre Dame, and I think they might be here to stay for a little bit.
I agree with that, and I go back to the stuff I talked about Miami. What are you going to get with Carson Beck? Is this going to be the Carson Beck that was very hot and cold and at Georgia, or is this somehow Mario Cristobal going to find some magic and turn him into like just an amazing quarterback and everything? I'm with you though, AJ. I don't feel like Mario Cristobal can coach in these big games because he's shown time and time again he can't handle that type of pressure.
Right.
And I feel like Notre Dame is probably the better team anyway going into this. And then I'm also with you, Mike, where I wouldn't be shocked if we end up seeing the score being like 35 to 21 or something.
And then maybe Notre Dame gets out big and just they just
hold on. And that would be perfect for the Irish because they can run the ball and their defense can stop you.
Yeah.
And like you said, you don't know what Carson Beck we're going to get because there were games last year where he was throwing 2 or 3 interceptions, and Notre Dame's not a team you can give extra possessions to with how they move the ball, but with both running and passing, it's going to be. It's going to be a tough. This is, kind of similar to what I was saying with the Tennessee-Syracuse game. I think this is more Notre Dame's to lose than it is Miami's to win.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm going to go ahead and say until he can prove otherwise, I'm thinking this is the same old Carson Beck. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up having multiple interceptions in this game.
Oh, and after that game 2 years ago for Miami against Georgia Tech where they decided to run the ball even though they could have needed the clock out, That proved to me that Mario Cristobal cannot be a college head coach and be successful.
Yeah,
exactly. And then Sunday, TCU at North Carolina. I don't know what it is about TCU always drawing the welcome to the show games.
Yeah.
A couple years ago
they had the Coach Prime,
Colorado, and then now you get Belichick's been at the show. But now you're coming to the college level, you get a home game, and here comes TCU.
Yeah.
And it's an every other year. You never know which TCU is going to show up. They are going to be talented. They are going to be explosive. The majority of that roster is coming from the state of Texas. And Sonny Dykes can certainly coach his rear end off, and I bet he's wanting to prove something to old Billy down there in Chapel Hill.
Oh, yeah. I'm big on the Horned Frogs this year. I loved the Sonny Dykes hire a couple years ago, and he immediately showed why that was a great hire. But he's got Josh Hoover, a quarterback that threw for a ton of yards last year, and he's going to throw for a ton again this year. Yeah. It doesn't matter who his wide receivers are. They find 3 guys that you can throw it to pretty consistently. But their defense is what's concerning because – we know Bill Belichick. We know he prides himself on his defense, and he's been able to shut down, Peyton Manning's and Drew Brees' and Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to be afraid of Sonny Dykes and Josh Hoover?
Right.
I don't know. But if this is a typical Bill Belichick style defense, it's going to be an ugly game.
Right. Yeah, I got to go ahead and say this first. So, long story short, we have Bama watch parties at my dad's house, my parents' house. And one of our next door neighbors, the Sims, Miss Dixie, always refers to TCU as the Horny Toads. And she does a little hand motion, just the Horny Toads. That's for you, Miss Dixie. I love you. But I'm with you. I don't know what TCU team we're going to get. It's just one of those. Yeah. It's just one of those.
We don't know what North Carolina.
You don't know.
I would say they just announced their quarterback last night, the South Alabama transfer Gio Lopez, but. Is he, a Power 5 level quarterback? Because I kind of look at him in the same light as Joey Aguilar. It's guys that put up good numbers at smaller schools, but can they do it at these bigger places?
And I'll go ahead and kind of put this out there for the North Carolina aspect. I expect one of two things record wise from North Carolina. You're either going to end the season like 6-6 and make one of those bowl games, probably win it or whatever. I feel like you at least get 6 wins. The other aspect is. This is Bill Belichick, and he knows what buttons to push.
Yeah.
He wins football games.
He wins football games.
Plain and simple.
I would not be shocked at all if we get towards the middle to end of the season, and you're looking at like
6-2 or something like that.
Like a 2, maybe 3-loss UNC.
Yeah.
Or, let's face it, he wasn't exactly drafting really well at North Carolina. His talent evaluation at the end of his tenure, last really 3 or 4 years, was not good.
Yeah.
So he might be past it.
He could be.
Yeah, he could be.
And you know, how much impact is this new woman having on his life with what's going on at UNC?
She's making a lot of money.
Because, but listen, I mean, she's been a huge distraction. There's no other way around that. I'm wondering how much that will play an impact.
That's
into
true.
This.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Well, looking forward to it again.
Yep.
Several good games coming up this weekend. It's a great thing about Labor Day, getting it all the way through Monday, and then a couple days later, the NFL starts.
Yeah,
got it.
So,
I would say we get 2 days without football between the September 2nd and 3rd. So,
going to be a lot of fun, and then we'll recap everything on Monday. So for Taylor Plott and Michael Marks, I'm AJ Good. We'll have our high school football preview show that's coming up tomorrow.
Going the distance for local sports. This is X